Okay, so I'm going to go through and show you how to do the formatting of your annotated bibliography. Remember, she wants it to look something like this sample, where it's got the citation for the bibliography of the book and the publisher and the author and all that, and then the annotation like this, and then there's a half-inch indent for the second line of the citation, and that's still that half-inch indent for the annotation. And if you look back on a couple pages back, she talks about how the formatting is supposed to be double spaced for the memoir paper, but for a bibliography that's single spaced, and even that sample she gave you from that guy last quarter, it was single spaced for the bibliography. 12 point Times New Roman says double space, but that's for the report, not for the bibliography, with the student's name, first page, page numbers, and no less than 1 inch margins, top, side, and bottom. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. I've got one of your blank documents, one I've already filled out, so we're going to go through it kind of in a more step-by-step just because of the I'm having a little bit of difficulty trying to recreate some of this stuff. So first thing we're going to do is the precess in annotated bibliography. So remember, we're going to go with Times New Roman, and it's going to be a 12 font. So that's the whole page layout and everything. Times New Roman, and font size is 12. We're going to center this and bold it. Okay, so that's the start of your bibliography. Double space between that and the next line. And want to make sure that the margins, so we'll go to page layout, margins, they're normal, which is 1 inch all the way around. We want to go to insert, click on top here, insert, page number. I'm going to put them at the bottom of the page. You can either put them at the bottom in the center, bottom in the right, top in the right, and I think even top in the center, but we're going to go bottom center. So bottom of the page. Plane number 1 is where it's off to the left. Plane number 2 is where it's in the center. So we're going to click on that. You can see now that you've got dash lines for a footer and header, and 1 inch is flashing. To get rid of that, put your cursor in the middle of the document, double click, and now those dash lines are gone, and it shows a faint page number, which will show up when you print it out. Okay, so now let's get to the next lines. And this is the actual first book. We'll take that. We're going to copy it, bring it over here. Okay, we want that left justified like it is, but we don't want it bolded. So unbold that. And there's a couple things wrong here now. For one thing, this I don't know why that indent is so big. It's not supposed to be that large. So let's click back here. Why is it doing that? Oh, because it's centered. There we go. Left justified it. Unbold it. Okay, so now we've got the first annotation. Let's make sure this is only, yeah, that's double spaced in between there. Okay, so what you need to do is you want this hanging indent. So this is dented in. You don't want to do it with the tab because it'll screw up if you go through and put your if you change some of the wording. So what you do is you drag these cursors over both of them, but drag from the bottom. Take them to the half-inch mark. Okay, then take the top one, clicking on the top one and drag it back over. Now you got what's called a hanging indent that'll stay in there. Okay, and then the book title is supposed to be italicized. So we'll click and italicize. And so now you've got that. Okay, the next thing you want to do is you want to have the annotation. This is just a sample one that I did. It's not anything real. You come back over here. And why did it skip that line? It's supposed, oh, okay, we're supposed to make sure the spacing is single spacing. So let's make everything single spacing. Remember, double spacing in between things, but not between the citation and the bibliography and the annotation. So click on that. Let's paste that sample. Doggone it, it's still putting that spacing in between. And I don't know why it's doing that. So I'm going to go through and see if single spacing, and it's still doing that. I'm not sure why it's doing that. And this isn't supposed to look this way. I'll take care of that. I'll try to figure out why that's doing that. But anyway, so it's still got this hanging indent, but that's not the way she wants that. So put your cursor over here, drag this back over here, make sure this top one is equal. So they're both like this. Okay, so now wherever your cursor is, that's going to do that hanging indent. So we can drag this over, pull this back over, and it did everything. Oh, that's a hanging indent. Okay, so let's undo that, and just tab. Okay, I still don't know why we got that line in between there though, but I'll correct that later. So anyway, that's how you have to do that with that hanging indent, and I'll do it on one more so you can see it. And I don't know why this spacing's there, but anyway, so let's put the next citation. Remember, these have to be in alphabetical order. This one isn't. It's out of order right now, but so we're going to take this one, put it over here. Now, since it's got the hanging indent, that's really not, that's the wrong way. It's got it reversed. So slide this back over here. You got to put the cursor down by the one that's going to hanging indent. So you drag the bottom, both of them will come over, basically. Then you drag the top back over, and now you got the hanging indent. And you should just be able to type right below this. I don't know why it's doing that spacing for the next annotation. So that you just have to remember how to do that hanging indent. And now when I copy this over, notice that this is a book, so the title is supposed to be italicized. It's not. So you got to go back through and italicize that. Okay, and then you do the annotation again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the whole thing over, make some changes to it. I'm just actually going to use that other page. This is how it should look. And I don't know why this is not. See how there's no space there between these two? That's the way that single space should be. I don't know why it's putting an extra space in between on that other page. But this is the one that I'll actually use when I send it back over to you. So just remember and take a look at this. Notice how this one, okay, I was screwed up on this one. This one's actually a journal. So notice how the journal is italicized. Before I was doing the title, thinking it was a book. Book titles, along with its like subtitle here, are italicized. When it's a journal article or something like that, you don't italicize the name of the article. You italicize the journal or magazine that it's in. So see, this one is from a journal. See how the journal is italicized? This one is a book. Notice how the title is italicized. And they usually have the two different parts of the title, the name of it, like the Comfort Women, and then it'll have an additional part, Japan's brutal regime of enforced prostitution in the Second World War. All that gets italicized. You just got to know the formatting. It's like the book that you're doing for your memoir. It's 50 Years of Silence, colon, and then the extraordinary memoir of a war rape survivor. That all gets italicized. And actually, in a book, I forget, oh, the title in a journal gets quotation marks on it. And then if there's something quoted inside that title, like this word comfort women was, it gets the single quotation marks inside of the double quotation marks. So just make sure you look on that one, either in your book or that one Kate Turabian website where it's got a bunch of examples, or on your History 319 websites where it's got examples, because it depends on whether it's a book or it's a journal article or something like that. There's different types of formatting, and you got to make sure you get that stuff right. Okay, so this is just a kind of a brief description of this. I'm going to put your name and everything up here in the right corner, but for right now I just didn't do that. I'll show you later how we're going to do that. I just want to get this thing correct in the first place, and then I'll put the name up there. All right, thanks.